Big Scuba, Scuba Crazy, Scoop Optimus Prime, all that. Let me think of a God of War name. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But if I do it during the video, I'm gonna just pause it and say it. I seen this video in my recommendations. I love gaming. I'm a gamer. I put my gaming channel in the description. This is my reaction channel. So if y'all enjoy this, y'all might enjoy my gaming videos. And this video is I made God of War. I made a God of War remake because Sony doesn't want to. Because Sony doesn't want to. I can't even read. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm talking too
Have
much.
waited enough for the original God of War to get a remake, but all we get is just a remaster. It seems like Sony doesn't even care. Fuck it. I'm gonna do it myself. Or at least I'm gonna try. I started with a base mesh. I sculpted his head to look more like Kratos, and here we have Kratos, who's on drugs. I sculpted his body, gave him some muscle, drew some veins and details here and there. After adding all the body details, now it was time for some texture. I added a white painting for his skin, and of course we can't forget about the detail. Then I drew the iconic red tattoo on his body. In the original God of War, Kratos had this extra tattoo on his left arm, which is removed later on in the sequel game. But I wanted to be faithful to the original design as much as possible, so I painted that as well.
I like watching videos like these, especially like I forget his name, but it's a dude that make AI. Excuse me. This guy that make AI games, or like he might make a phone game in an hour or something. I forget his name, but I probably throw it in the description or something. But I love watching videos like these of people, you know, remaking games and stuff like that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's cool.
Kratos! Oh, but he's still naked. So let's make him some clothes. For the clothes and accessories, I have used a bunch of different techniques. I used the cloth simulation to make the skirt, selected some faces, extruded them outward, wrapped some bandages and chains around his forearm. I modeled some sandals. Alright, I'm not gonna pretend that I know everything. To me, modeling is just about pushing and pulling vertices until it looks good enough. So yeah. After I finished modeling the accessories, I've brought them into Substance Painter and textured them as well. I even tried to paint the smaller details like the blood stains, the dirt, the stitches and stuff to make it more believable. Our model is now pretty much done. But it doesn't move. You know, in order to make a character move in 3D, we have to utilize something called rigging. And I'm pretty sure you do not know what rigging is. You do? Alright, I'm gonna explain it anyway. Rigging is basically the part where you put some bones inside of your rig, so then you'd be able to move it. You can also customize the shapes of the bones to your...
Is that the equivalent to mocapping, maybe? Or no? I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments.
Liking, so
it might have been a dumb question, but honestly,
like your worst nightmare. For that purpose, I'm gonna use the Blender Rigify add-on to make it easier. I also made the sandals wrinkle when bent. It's a small detail, but that will be cool since we'll have close-ups later on. Now Kratos is able to move. Let's go! For the skirt, I added a cloth simulation to make it move realistically, but I failed again, and again, and again, and again! I found this tutorial from Edin Spiegel, and it worked. But when Kratos turns around, it messes up again! Leave it alone. I'm gonna move, but anyway. I was aiming for recreating the intro of God of War 1 when Kratos jumps down from the mountain, and that's about 10 shots. I'll start with the menu, where Kratos is standing in the middle of fire. I just add Kratos to the scene, download some fire footage from Artlist, remove the watermark. Well, this is my first video. Yeah, I mean, of course I'm broke like basically everyone on starting YouTube. I then dropped the fire footage behind Kratos, added some lights, and gave them a subtle animation to simulate a flickering fire effect. If you look at the original game, Kratos is just standing with his eyes closed, doing nothing, but I wanted to add more drama to it, so I animated Kratos as if he's remembering his past memories and feeling regret. Like, when we think about our ex, I remember how stupid we were. This is already looking so sick. I also thought it would be cool for his memories to show in the background, so I decided to use some of the original cutscenes from the game and blend them with the flames in After Effects. After adding the God of War title, the text, and the buttons, our first shot is pretty much done. Now it's time for the most difficult shot. The cliff shot. Yeah, it was a very long project. I started with gathering some rock scans from Sketchfab, but I couldn't find anything close to the Greek structure behind Kratos, so I've got an idea. I opened the game on my PC, played a little bit, and then went to the stage where you can see the statues. I extracted the 3D models and imported them into Blender. I added more resolution, sculpted some...
See, that's fire that somebody can do that. Like, I really feel like people could make, well, I'm gonna say independent games. That's what indie games are, but if somebody get enough people, they can make a 5-star game just off of doing stuff like that. I mean, it might get a big, like, they might get a big copyright thing for taking models or something. I don't know. But yeah, I just fired.
And modeled the new shield because the first one sucked. I have watched the original models closely and tried to replicate the details as close as possible to the original models of the game. I then dropped them into Substance Painter for some texturing. I started with painting the smaller details on the models because it's much faster and easier than sculpting them in 3D. After I finished detailing the statue, I gave it a rocky material with some dirt and then painted some golden parts here and there. I then did the same thing with the game and the structure, just painting some bump details, adding some patterns, cracks, dirt, imperfections, painting some gold, change some colors to add more variation, and we're done! I know! Genius, right? I deserve an Oscar for this. Now it's
Just
time to
that
make
right
the scene.
there
I
took
dropped a sky
a long
image for the
time.
background, then I placed the rock scans and the models I created into the scene. This part was really a big deal for me, since I never made an exterior environment before, so everything from the mountains to the 3D assembling was a learning curve. I watched countless tutorials, including Martin Kluckner's environment course, and I searched through tons of reference images to capture the right mood. Since I was working on a budget, I had to rely on free resources for skies. I even used AI to generate references. It was a lot of experimenting and trial and error, but seeing it all come together made it worth it. Wait, it looks like shit! I mean, everything is flat and boring. Oh, I know how to fix it. With lighting. I masked some clouds, added them into the scene, added some gradients between the mountains to fake depth, placed some volumetric clouds in the foreground, and here comes the magic of lighting. I start with adding an HDRI image, and wow, it already looks amazing! To make it more interesting, I'm gonna adjust the effects in the clouds further. I added more lights to the scene to make the details pop even more. I even added some fog with a subtle animation to make it move slightly. Now it looks less like shit, which is good enough. By the way, this massive environment is just some rocks and planes floating around outside the camera view. And that is the first rule of VFX. As long as no one notices, you never fail. To me, Kratos' eyes were too lifeless, so I added two small point lights in front of his eyes to make him look more tearful, and it looks amazing, if you ask me. We certainly don't want Kratos to stand like Kate Winslet in the movie Titanic, so let's give him some movements. I have spent about 6 hours animating these few seconds. I really hate keyframe. I also added some wind to make the skirts move. So cool. If you pay attention, you can see there are two crows flying around in the scene in the original game. For that, I found this model in Sketchfab, which was free by the way. I imported it into Blender and it looks like a bird who's trying to bully you for some reason.
Subscribe!
I duplicated the model, offset the animation, and then made them follow
Make sure y'all subscribe to my video.
a path. For my shot, I wanted the birds to fly straight from where the camera is and cause the camera to wiggle a little because I think it will make it much cooler that way. And with that, the second shot is finished! In the original, the transition from the menu to the game is quite simple. The fire just fades out. But for my remake, I wanted to add more depth to the moment. So instead of fire just disappearing, I created this mask to make it slowly extinguish, as if the flames being sniffed out, leaving only embers raising to the sky. The rest of the shots were much easier. For this shot where Kratos is looking down the abyss, I just changed the camera position. The rock under his feet didn't have much detail, so I scattered a bunch of smaller rocks on the surface to make it more interesting. And with that, our third shot is finished. For this
That's
shot where
fire.
Kratos raises his foot, I changed the camera position again
improvise
and
is
animated
what he
his
got.
legs using keyframes. Please help. In the original scene, you can see those pebbles fall after Kratos lifts his heel. So I added some small rocks and pushed them forward using an invisible box, and with that, our fourth shot is done. For the shots where Kratos is falling, I had very cool ideas by using AI. Well, not exactly, it's not AI, those are called modifiers. You pose your character into the desired position, select the body parts that you want them to move, and then add a noise modifier, and it's done. Oh my god, just imagine Kratos jumping from the cliff like this. This is too strong, I have to lower the intensity, and there you go! For the rocks behind him, I didn't want to model a whole mountain and make Kratos fall from it. It'll take too much time and processing power. But I had some tricks under my sleeve. Instead, I added a cylinder, scaled it, used a displacement modifier on it, applied a rocky texture on it, and then made it rotate along the x-axis. I animated the fog to move upwards and gave the camera a shaking animation. And that's enough to sell the illusion of Kratos falling. Remember, as long as no one fails, it's
Bro, that's so cool. Like, I'm kind of learning stuff. I don't know what I could use it for, but that's fire. That's fire. I'm learning
Wait, for
something.
the rest of the
watching
shots, it was basically the same scene, I just changed the camera position. But for the close-up shots, I made some subtle facial animations, as if Kratos closes his eyes and accepts his fate. I mean, it's barely noticeable, but I thought it would be a cool detail to have. And finally, the ocean. I dropped a plane, added the ocean modifier, made some water material, and then used the same rocks I used in this scene and scattered them all over the surface. And finally, added 3 levels of clouds, each of which is weaker than the previous one, so the fog gradually disappears. And with that, the final shot is done. To enhance the quality even further, I dropped them into DaVinci Resolve for some color grading. For the mood of the game, I was actually looking for some
even high-level game editor coders or whatever use DaVinci Resolve. Shout out to DaVinci Resolve.
something dark and sad. I used this image as my reference. You know, color grading isn't just about making something look cool, it's about feeling. I wasn't just pushing sliders, I was trying to capture a mood. Kratos was depressed and disappointed, and I wanted the colors to reflect that. And after over 3 months of modeling, texturing, rigging, animating, rendering, post-processing, please, at first, enjoy the first look of the God of War remake.
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me.
It looked really good. I know it'll take them years to make it.
Now there is no hope.
And Kratos cast himself from the highest mountain in all of Greece. After 10 years of suffering,
The rocks.
10 years of endless nightmares, it would finally come to an end. Death would be his escape from nudeness.
Bro, live like a man. I gotta replay God of War for sure. But pretty much that's the end of that video. This is my reaction channel. Let me go to it from here. If y'all want to see my gaming channel, y'all can just go to my channel like this. Click over here, go to Big School. But this is my gaming channel. I play a lot of games. I might play God of War. I just finished Uncharted. I've played it before, but I just wanted to play it on video, if that makes sense. Of course, I mean, I ain't got that many views, but I'm still, you know, I enjoy doing this, so I'm going to do it forever. I don't really care about the views right now. Hopefully, one day, you know, I get to a better point. But if y'all enjoy my reaction, check out my videos, man. I'll be having fun. So if y'all want to see me play God of War, this is where it happened at. But hopefully I enjoyed that reaction. That was a really good video. That was cool. I just seen it in my recommendations. I just watched it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Like, comment, subscribe. We out.